Indiana Jones, my friend. Something that we were going to do a separate little talking point on, because I thought this looked awesome, but I know you're not as much of a fan.
I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. It's very much a me problem, I think. I loved the showcase. I loved all the games we've talked about, all the games to come. I think there were so many that I wasn't convinced by that completely blew me away, including Fable and Perfect Dark. But Indiana Jones is so up in the air for me, Scott Tilford. Choo-choo all aboard the Indiana Jones train. It's so up in the air because parts of the trailers that they've shown off look spot on. In parts of them, I think, how can this be real? How can this be your gameplay? And it was the same deal with this latest trailer where we got that long proper cutscene in the snow. I thought, okay,
Went on for ages.
It did, but I thought at least I can get on board with this choo-choo. I can get on board. I can enjoy it. I see what you're going for. I think you've executed it really well. It looks lovely. The performances are great. The animations are solid. It's just every time they cut back to that gameplay montage, I don't know about you, but it looks, for me personally, I can't get excited about it because I think if that's what I'm doing, it looks incredibly clunky. There is one shot in the trailer where Indiana fires a shot out of his gun, and it looks so weird and odd and alien that I couldn't believe it was from the people who made the Wolfenstein games.
Yeah, there is that.
Who are known for first-person shooting. It's just, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being far too critical on a few seconds of gameplay, but I don't see it in terms of what you're actually doing. Cutscene-wise, direction-wise, I understand what you're going for. I just don't know how the two things blend, because from what we've seen so far, the cutscenes are up here, and the gameplay is down here.
That's the thing. I want to come back around to Indiana Jones as a IP at some point, but overall it reminded me of RoboCop Rogue City, 2023's Game of the Year, RoboCop Rogue City. That game's phenomenal. I love the RoboCop game from last year. But in terms of, you do such great cutscenes and third person showing of a character, so that when you do go to first person, you do feel like you're embodying them.
Yeah.
RoboCop did that really well, and there was a lot of different choices you could make throughout the story and dialogue and stuff like that, to really ground that sense of immersion, and obviously the sound design. I could talk about that game a lot. I loved it.
Yeah,
but for the indie thing, it is almost cutscene the game.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think makes it look awesome is obviously Troy Baker's performance. I think he's doing a phenomenal Harrison Ford. The facial animation is brilliant. Obviously, they have scanned in or done something where they've got a model of Harrison Ford, and a lot of just the facial animations, the little ticks that make a Ford performance.
Yeah.
I love seeing them, and I think, and I'm not even a Harrison Ford guy. I find him pretty boring most of the time, but I do like this version of the character. But yeah, I thought they nailed that so much that it almost makes up the gameplay side.
Right. Okay,
where I'll just enjoy being this snarky dude. I'm assuming he'd be quipping as I'm going through the levels, and be doing that thing where you're playing through it's almost like the missing installment, because I think it's set between Indy 2 and 3 anyway.
Right.
And it's almost like it's almost like Machine Games just made an Indiana Jones movie, and they kind of literally have in how long those cutscenes went on for.
Yeah.
And then give you just enough gameplay that it's fun, you'll get into the next set piece, you'll get into the next bit. It doesn't make up for the ropiness of it, but it does give me hope they can bring it together.
I hope so. I really hope so. And I've loved Machine Games' last two titles, especially the stories and the characterization of both, and the worlds that they've managed to create. Always been amazing. We'll champion them until the day I die, especially the surprises and the twists and turns of Wolfenstein 2. But yeah, looking at this, you know what? I'm not this guy who looks at cutscenes and says, like, I can appreciate cutscenes for what they are, but when I was watching that lengthy one that they showed off in the snow with Indy being taken hostage and whatnot, I thought, I wish I was playing it. And I never think that about cutscene-driven games, but this time around, because there felt like such a discrepancy between what we were being shown and what we couldn't control and what we seemingly can, I was just longing for that section, at least in part, to be playable. I was waiting for the moment that they cut to gameplay and went back and forth between the first-person stuff and the cutscene stuff in that section, but they never did because it was all cutscene-driven. And I need to see more. I admittedly do. I need to play it myself, but the scale of what we were seeing in that cutscene compared to the seeming day-to-day and moment-to-moment scale of the actual gameplay, I just felt like the gameplay looks small to me. It looks a little bit clunky, especially the melee combat, which reminds me of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. And the environments that you're in, like, they don't seem that dynamic. They don't seem that, like,
you're on rails,
explorable.
I think. Yeah.
It feels, even when you're in the jungle and stuff, from the few bits of footage we've seen, it looks more like a corridor shooter than anything else. And I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be negative.
It's completely fair. I was just going to say I'm totally there for that, but carry on.
No. And there's just one more thing. I need them to show me an unbroken section of gameplay. Yes. That's what they need to do to convince me, because I'm seeing the disparate elements: the melee, the whip, the puzzle solving, the shooting, the switch to third person where you're using the whip to go from one ledge to another, or climb up an obstacle, and I just don't know how it fits together. I don't know how it's going to feel when you're doing all of these things in quick succession, because all of that stuff together could be like so fluid and crisp and satisfying to mess around with, to use your whip to trip someone up, shoot them while they're on the floor, jump over there, do it Uncharted 4 style, get the rope out, move from place to place, but everything looks so itemized.
I wonder how much. That's it. When you said about the corridor shooting stuff and being in the forest, and it almost feels like a rail shooter. I think they could get carried away with this, but I think they want it to be, we're giving you an Indiana Jones experience. It's not, and it could potentially not be that far off a VR experience, the Arkham Shadow stuff, or whatever, where it's like you're gonna see the cool cutscenes, you're gonna say the cool stuff, and then you're gonna punch the Nazis and do the rest of the thing. And like that might be enough if you're controlling more of it than what you would in a VR experience. Because I do feel like it's a lost art to do the third-person cutscenes, first-person gameplay. Like Rainbow Six Vegas had it, RoboCop had it. There was something else I was thinking of that did it really well back in the day as well, and I've forgotten it, but I feel like it used to be more of a thing, and I feel like when I was playing through RoboCop, it reminded me of how awesome that feeling of immersion can be, where you can do more by taking the control away from the player and just being like, this is a cool character, look at them doing cool stuff, now you're them, go do cool things again. And I don't want to apologize or whatever, make excuses for what could be really rote, boring gameplay. Hopefully it does come together with some semblance of pace, but it does remind me of the first person, third person split that I kind of miss, because I feel like we either pick one or the other these days, and I feel like you can split. And I would like I said, I would shout out people check out RoboCop. That thing is phenomenal, and it is down that road as well. No, it's fine. Don't do it.
No, I just I'm not even necessarily down on it. I'm just so mixed. I feel like the showings have just been so inconsistent, and I love the comparisons to RoboCop, a game that deserves more love. I think for me personally, I expect more than RoboCop Rogue City style gameplay from a first party Microsoft studio that has a license like this behind it, and presumably all the money in the entire world. I don't know, maybe it doesn't, but yeah, it is just that gameplay that I'm caught up on. I need to demo myself. I need to figure out how it flows, because if we're comparing first person showcases, even from Microsoft's own conference, I know Perfect Dark probably won't end up playing like that, and it's much further away, but I got so much out of Perfect Dark in the way that it blended melee and parkour and first person shooting, that I wish Indiana Jones looked as smooth as that. I wish it had the same fluidity that seems to have. Whether they'll accomplish that or not, I don't know. I still love that it exists. I still love that they're taking a chance on an IP like Indiana Jones. They're taking the risk to do it in first person with these blend of third person cutscenes. Like you said, they are seemingly trying to incorporate a bunch of different gameplay styles, from shooting to melee to puzzle solving to exploration. It seems like an ambitious game at the very least. I
think as well, the fact that it's this Todd Howard dream project makes me wonder how much they were further down the line on Wolfenstein 3 or whatever the next part of that trilogy is, because they did promise us Mecha Hitler, and he ain't in there yet. And so I don't know if that was a whole thing, and then it's Todd Howard. You can't say no. He wants to do an Indiana Jones game. Apparently he did pick Machine Games as the studio he wanted to work with.
Yeah.
So it kind of, the jankiness or some of the feel, the way that it looks, could be the result of we've put this together faster than we didn't plan for this necessarily, and we're doing the best we can, and hopefully it'll stitch together as it goes forward.